Hi, welcome back to our channel. In this video, I'm going to give you guys a little bit update about our poultry farm, and also a little bit advice about some farming techniques and setting up your farm in general. So many times I hear people really want to start up a business, a poultry farm business, but then they keep thinking like, okay, so what do I need to do this? And we just keep going back and forth, but we never do anything. There's some things that sometimes I read about and do, to kind of prepare me if whenever I'm setting up to do anything, you know. So normally those two things, is I just decide exactly what it is that I want, then I write it down, then I set out to do that thing that I really want. Because I realize that whenever something comes into my mind and I don't write it down, I usually forget about it. So I always carry a book with me most of the times. So when something comes to me, I write it down. Like this poultry farm thing that you guys see over there. We've been running for a little while now. And there's a lot involved in it. It's not like you just get up one day, then everything is done. It's a process. So the first thing that you need to do is write it down exactly what it is that you want. So determine the price that you're going to have to pay to get that thing. Because these farm, they are very capital intensive. So let's say you want to start a poultry farm, you need to build a structure. Now after building the structure, you need to set up your borehole, like the water, those electric power to bring over there, pump to fetch water to fill up your tanks and all those things. After all of that, you have to get your chickens, bring them in, into your pen. After you bring them in, you're talking about your feed that you need to feed them, the vaccinations that you need to give them, all of those things. So if you want to do these kind of things, you need a solid plan. Just sit around, plan, do a lot of research. Okay, if I'm going to have 1,000 chickens, what do I need for them? See, so 1,000 chickens, how much feed do I have to buy to feed them until they start laying eggs for me? All those things, or how much feed you have to buy until they get to maturity so that you can sell them off. Those things. Because usually, let's say you have 1,000 bears, layer bears, and you're going to feed them. On the minimum, on average, each one of them is probably going to eat about anywhere from 50 kgs to about, like all the bears, they're going to eat about 50 kg to about 75 to 80 kg of feed a day. So you just have to calculate the feed prices in your area and see, okay, I have 1,000 of them. On average, if they are eating about 50 to 75 or 80, then how much money do I have to have for about 6 months every month, to take care of these bears and those things. Those are some plans that you're going to have, And also their vaccination, how many vaccinations do I need for them before they start laying? Those things. In Ghana, we have a vaccination chart. You can go to the vaccination office where they buy them, and they will give you the schedule, and they will tell you the prices. At least if they're not the actual prices, they'll give you an average prices for all of them, so that you can do your calculations and your business plan for your poultry farm. Like the ones you guys see over here. It's taking us a while to get to where we are, and we have learned a lot of things on the way. Like things from finding the people to work over there, and people who work over there not being loyal. People fighting all the time. Those are the things that you might have to go through to get to what you want. So you have to determine the price that you are willing to pay to set up this thing. Because if you are not somebody who have determined to set up this and see that it succeed, you might give up. Because there's a lot of things that goes on in setting up a business. Like if you want to become an entrepreneur, sometimes you might think that is just you setting up a business and that is it. Most of the time, the person who set up the business, yeah, like an entrepreneur, you'll be the last person who makes money, because you pay everybody else except yourself. So that is the thing about setting up a business like a poultry farm. In the beginning, you'll be paying everybody else except yourself, because you have to pay them, buy, feed those things until your chickens start laying eggs, before you can sell some to the market and all those things, and to see if you can make profit before you can get money back to you into your pocket. So that's one thing that I want people to have in their mind. Like, if you're trying to do this thing, sometimes when you haven't started, you just think it's easy. But once, like I was saying, so if you haven't not started this farm, you think it's easy to run things. But once you start, that's when you see a whole lot of things. And one thing that I've noticed is that anytime you are running a business and you want to implement something, or you implement something, and for you to see any big change in what you have implemented, normally it will take you about 30 to about 90 days before you see like the change coming. And that is the point that sometimes, if you're not careful, you might give up, because you wait for like a week, you don't see anything. 2 weeks, you don't see anything. About 3 weeks, sometimes you begin to see something, but you are not really impressed about it. Then about like a month, then you start to see something. But usually people might give up after like the first week or 2 weeks. Those are the things that I want to bring to people. If you want to do these things, you have to be patient. Give yourself time for things that you have implemented on your farm, to come together. Because you're going to learn a whole lot of things as you go along. These chickens, they don't grow just because you brought them there, then they just grow. You have to become a student of what you are trying to do. Learn, ask questions from people. What do I do to make sure my chickens are growing? What do I do to make sure my pigs are growing? Find people who are already doing it, or they've already done it. Ask them, hey, how did you do it? What feed, those things. Then you find different ways to make adjustment to them. Because that's the one thing that I have noticed, that if you don't do that and you think, oh, you can do it all by yourself, and you will run into some problems. Because some problems that you are facing now, people who are already doing these things, they probably already gone through them. So it's better to learn from them than you try to repeat the mistakes that they have already made. One advice that I'll give to anybody, especially in African setting, whenever you are doing a business, you have to keep an eye on your things very, very carefully. I don't know about anywhere else, but you need to. You have to, because otherwise, there are some things that will go by that you will not like after a while. So just do bookkeeping. Whoever you're trying to hire, make sure they do bookkeeping. You ask them about records every day, in the beginning, until you notice that, okay, these people are getting what you are trying to preach. Then maybe you slow down a little bit and leave things to them and still monitor them from far, those things. So hopefully, whoever is trying to start a farm, poultry farm, any farm business, you don't give up, because of some stories that some people told you about when they started their farm, it didn't work, or those things. You just have to be smart about the way you go about yours, and learn from other people's mistake. If you really want to learn more about this poultry farm business and pig farm business, you can contact us, and we will give you information that you might not know. It will save you a whole lot of trouble instead of you trying to figure it yourself. Thank you guys for watching. There's a link below. You can click on it, schedule a consultation, learn more about this poultry farm business or any farming business that you want to know. Please like the video, share it, and subscribe.